Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is your boy Jay Davari back to bringing y'all another video. And in this week's video right here, man, I'm basically going to be showing y'all a trade breakdown of a position that I took today. Today is Thursday, the 8th. And basically, I took a position on the euro and I made about $2,000 on this position on my futures funded account. So I'm going to break that down for y'all, show y'all what I did, show y'all my strategy and the things that I look for. Um, every week. And honestly, I did take more trades throughout the week. Like I took one on gold on Monday and I made $700 on that trade. Tuesday and Wednesday I ended up taking a couple losses that I honestly trades that I shouldn't have been in. But it is what it is. But we basically made it all back today. So thankful for that. And I'm gonna walk y'all through some of the things that I would go and do differently. And I'm a journal it as well. So um ask you guys, please do subscribe to the channel and like the video. Also, feel free to comment down below if you guys want to share your results that you've had this week, or if you just want to make conversation. I'm here for that too. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. So first off, from a fundamental standpoint, I can say this: I shouldn't have traded before Wednesday. On gold, however, on gold, the market was already kind of primed to move. I might just go ahead and show y'all that position, maybe when I journal. But gold was the only position that I started out the week positive. So I made $700 on a gold trade early in the week. But going forward of everything else that I traded, which was mainly the euro, I shouldn't have traded the euro until before the FOMC, the federal funds rate, because um, basically the U.S. dollar was kind of like consolidating most of the week, and then on top of that too, also with the euro, I was trying to sell the euro because what I was seeing on the charts from like the technical standpoint, everything was saying sell to me, right? At least or how I made sense of it. But however, because of you guys can see with these news events on the euro and news events on the pound, a good amount of them were like pretty positive. So that it was actually bullish price action that was going on between Tuesday and Wednesday. So I should have actually paid attention to that. However, I was just so stuck on the idea of like, no, we're bearish, But however, we actually didn't get bearish, so I actually wasn't right on the direction until after Wednesday, until after yesterday, where we really saw that breakdown in price, and then we saw lower prices going into the day, which is why I made my $2,000 after I found the entry after it was confirmed with the interest rate. So the interest rates didn't change, so that's pretty good for the dollar, right? And so the dollar basically surged in price after the interest rate announcement. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to go to the charts really quick. So yeah, that's basically what was going on from a fundamental standpoint. I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all the charts, right? So right here we have euro and we have the pound for futures. And so basically this little internal range right here, right? So the previous week from Friday, May 2nd, we actually came up and tagged this imbalance. However, for the pound, it didn't do it yet. So I was kind of thinking like, okay, for the pound, we're probably going to see some type of bullish price action going up and tapping this gap, and we're probably going to do the same around with probably going to do the same with the euro, probably tagging and retesting the area, and that's exactly what happened here. Um, However, going into it, I want to say Tuesday. Matter of fact, I could just go ahead and show y'all on my dashboard right here, so you guys can see right here. This is that five. This says $500 profit for the day because I made $700 on gold. However, I also took a short position on Monday with the euro, and I lost that trade for like $200. So that's why on the day it's only a profit of $500 or like $600. But as you guys can see, these are these two losses that I took yesterday. So the 6th and yesterday and today, I basically just made it all back. So now my account is back up to $2,000 in profit, right? So go back over here. So we kind of came back in and tagged this imbalance again, and also we formed that SMT between between the Fridays corresponding days on each pair. So right here we made a higher high, or we closed above, or we went above this internal range. However, we still respected it on the inside with these corresponding days. So we had an SMT form right here between Friday and basically Tuesday and Wednesday. So Friday on the pound and Tuesday on the pound, we formed a higher high, whereas between Friday and Tuesday on the euro, we formed a lower high, right? So that's that S&T divergence right there. So with this one being with the euro being the weaker pair, this is where I'm more inclined to look for setups on. And honestly, I got faked out a lot, especially on Tuesday. I got faked out a lot. So I'm gonna go down to the 1 hour. That's the corresponding time frame. So you guys can see right here, I got faked out quite a bit, right? Especially like right here, I was thinking because we had a fair value got tagged on Monday. So like this is like one of my first few entries right here. And I actually journaled this also, right? So like this was one of my first few entries inside of here. You expected this fair value gap. So I was anticipating there to already be just bearish price action from here on out and probably find some continuation heading lower and then tapping this internal range. However, that did not happen, right? So I want to say this was one of my first entries right here. I remember this specifically because I did lose on this position. So initially, this was my trade idea. This was my trade idea right here. I had my stop above this high. And going into Tuesday, got tagged. Ended up losing on that trade. And then Wednesday, I also took Tuesday night, I took another position. And I basically ended up losing out on that because I had my stop set for here, right? So this entry right here on Tuesday, I had to stop like right here, just like right above this candle, and it got tagged. So that was my second loss. So that didn't feel too great. However, going into today between Wednesday and Thursday. So Wednesday, we actually formed that SMT on Wednesday between these two respective pairs. Back up. Right, so right here. So all this is happening inside of that internal range gap, right? Still inside of it. Like the body still respected this internal range right here. So right here from basically this high Wednesday morning to like Wednesday afternoon, we basically had the S&T. So between Wednesday at 2 o'clock in the morning, between Wednesday's London and then the New York session, we formed a higher low or a lower high. We formed a lower high, and then but on Wednesday going into the London session to the New York session, we formed a higher high. So this high is higher than this one. So that's that SMT right there. And with this one being the weaker pair, I'm going to assume that there's more institutional sponsorship inside and basically in the euro, right? And then also going into the 2 o'clock hour to the 1400 hours, that's also that FOMC rate announcement. You see, we had our wick, it did its damage, and we basically just hit it lower. And once I seen this right here, once I seen us come back down into this the Sunday opening price right here for the week. Once I seen this, I was of the idea of like, okay, if we're gonna see any type of bearish price action, it's gonna be now, right? So, and that's exactly what transpired today, going into Thursday. So I didn't initially get in this move right here, because I was asleep at this time. I actually entered this position right here early, around like I want to say 7:30 or 8 o'clock or so. These are hourly candles, so between 7:30 and 8 o'clock, I entered inside of here, entered right here, because we also formed S&T inside of a fair value gap right here on the hourly time frame. So that S&T right there, right here we have a higher high and a lower high, whereas right here we have a high and then a higher high right here. So again, the euro weaker pair. I went ahead and did a market execution order. Actually, no, this is a sell limit. So I did a sell limit order right here. I put 2 contracts of risk. My stop was here. So overall, I was risking about, I want to say it was about $500 or $600, because I did end up closing my trade right here. That's why I have this red line. So it was like a 1 to 3. So roughly like about $2,000. So I was risking about maybe $600 or $700 or so. So I made about $2,200 on this move, or I made $2,000 on this move, and I took a trade earlier, like a quick little scout heading up into uh this gap area right here. So I took a little scout, made like hundred or so dollars on that, which is why my profit for today is around $2,200. So um all in all, this trade right here was a 1 to 3. So, we banked $2,000 for the for the week. I basically recouped all the losses, or recouped all my gains from the losses that I took earlier in the week. And like I said, I got faked out a lot this week. I just kept getting stopped out. Uh, Although I was right about the direction for the week. It's just that it took some time for it, and that's kind of one thing that I'm gonna take from this and learn from this, and I'm add that in my journal as far as like, I could be right about the direction. It's just, but I could just not be in the market at the right time, right? And so going into this week and probably going forward, what I might do is I might just say like, we got Fed rates coming up. Hey, it might be in my best interest to kind of like just sit on the sidelines until after Wednesday and see what goes on. Because also too, should have took note of the Sunday opening price, right? Like we were continuously trading above here, right? And also, I should have paid attention more to the U.S. dollar, um, because the dollar also too, it kept just ranging within inside of here. Then finally today, we had that push away from this high, this monthly low. So we finally had a push away. There was also like a little monthly fair value you got right here. This is also a monthly 618 level. So finally now seeing a push from this area. If we close above this imbalance, that remains to be seen. But for right now, especially like with the tariffs and everything, I know like a lot of investors and hedge funds, they kind of like been sitting on the sidelines and just moving their money over into other assets amid the tariffs. However, with Trump did speak today, so like I want to say him and the UK, they basically came up with like some kind of deal with tariffs. So the US is only gonna be giving them, charging them 10% tariffs on products that they want to bring here in the US. So they reached the deal, and that ended up being bullish for the US dollar, right? So um yeah, that's pretty much it for this trade breakdown. It wasn't anything too crazy. Just following my process of what I normally do. Although I did incur some losses, and that's kind of something that did kind of bother me a bit this week. But we made it all back, and we're just gonna move forward and learn from it. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the video. Oh, my bad. I did say I was gonna journal this. Let's see. So we're gonna do. I did say I was gonna journal this entry. So right here we got that S&T. Kind of wanna. Well, actually, I don't need to do it here. I don't need to do it here. I can just. Matter of fact, I need to go on a daily chart first. I want to go on the daily. If it hurries up. All right, so I want to go on the daily chart, Going to add text. S&T with EU. I just call it EU. You can say euro or pound. S&T with EU. Right. Got that S&T between both of the pairs. I like to mark it here so I see what days. From Friday to Wednesday, from Friday's high of last week to Wednesday, the middle of the week today. And honestly, it's basically like that kind of, you can kind of say like this was a midweek reversal from the Sunday's opening price. Right. So that's another thing I keep in mind also. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and download this image. All right, so that's downloaded, and now I'm gonna go down to the hourly, and basically, boom, 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 boom. Kind of want to change this to like a different color, kind of. Now we'll leave it blue. I'll just put Actually, no, I'm gonna change the color of this. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, slightly. Oh well. All right, so we got that. Then we have S&T with GU. Got that. Boom. I want to make this a little smaller. Maybe a little smaller. There we go. Then we got S&T with EU. Boom. Make it a little smaller and boom. There we go. So I'm gonna do this so I can actually see what I was looking at. Yeah. And so I can also see that, or I can note it in my journal that we had multiple SMTs form inside of this area. And I'm also marked this as Thursday. So my entry was on Thursday. Right, and that's this candle right here. All right, so now I'm gonna save that, download image. Then we're gonna go to our Notion journal, Notion. All right, we're gonna do today. We're gonna do Euro short. Euro short. Now, honestly, you guys don't have to stay for this. I'm just doing this for like just documenting purposes. Yeah, Euro short. Let's see today's date. I'm gonna do end date today. We're gonna include the time. So we're gonna say we enter at about 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. And we were out of this trade, I want to say around 2. So capitalize on majority of that momentum that we saw. So I'm gonna say like 230 or so. I close this position. So 230 direction short. Emotion, I was confident after I saw the S&T. After I saw S&T divergence, ENC. There we go. Profit. Just gonna say rough. Gonna say $2,100 basically. Result was a 3 RR. Or 3 to 1, whatever. Win. And then shift. There we go. 3 to 1. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and document that. Attach a file. Boom. Just gonna go ahead and note it here. Week. T. Divergence. Take. Oh shit. S&T divergence. If it's divergence take place in frame between EU and just gonna note that I got faked out quite a bit. Faked out quite a bit early in the week. Note that week of Fed rate announcement to consider sitting on sidelines. Also pay attention to the news reports for the markets you're trading. Market your trade. Boom. There we go. That's that. I'm actually glad that I'm doing this as a video, journaling live on video right now. Right here on Wednesday after the rate announcement. Put it down. It also occurred here on Sundays open times. So if the market wants to move to this area, wants to move to the income, my bad, to the range, it only has Friday to do so. S&T curd. I spelled curd wrong. It's 1C. 1C. Is it? Fuck it. We'll just use autocorrect. Fuck it. Okay, so it's 2 R's. My bad. Whoops. There we go. Occurred. Inside of the 1 hour fair value gap. Trade resulted where sell limit order resulted in a 3-to-1 risk reward. Yeah, I just do capital RR. I know what I mean. All right, so there we go. Follow my process. We journaled, made $2,000 today, journaled it, and we're gonna keep this in mind going forward. I put my notes in here and everything, and this is, I want to say I'm doing my best to show what effective trading looks like. I'm really taking it a lot more serious this year. So with that being said, if you guys stayed this long, I really do appreciate it. And like I said early in the video, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and feel free to comment down below if you guys want to just make conversation or anything. So that being said, this is Jay Davari. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one, man. Peace out.